brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
Well, we're just short of 10:30 here on KLFD AM 1410 on a Wednesday morning. Time for Vibrant You here on KLFD.
Thanks, Randy. And guess what? All three of us are actually here today.
How about that? We're back.
Yes.
No vacations.
Not this week, apparently.
No, apparently there's more coming though. I've been hearing all
I'm
about
taking
it.
a week off, a week on. It's nice.
Well, when you're a superstar, getting all that vacation.
So you must get all the
stuff.
vacation then.
I go whenever I want.
Well, thanks for having us, Randy, and welcome to another Vibrant You Live. I'm Jane.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Bo.
So last week, while Bo was out frolicking at Corn Carnival, Nathan and I were here last Wednesday, and we were talking about how to avoid scams and what to kind of look for. So basically, at the end of the day, think before you click. And if you're expecting an email or you aren't expecting an email, hover over that site to make sure that it's actually legit.
Yeah, don't click links in texts or emails unless it's something you were immediately expecting.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And then, you were off. Do you want to repeat that now?
I was just going to say, for texts or emails, if there's links, be careful before you click anything.
Think before you click.
And the Nigerian prince is not your friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Usually.
And then just pay attention to friend requests because you're not that popular.
On social media.
I got a call from the Netherlands the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you were recently traveling in that part of the world,
Yeah,
right?
so that's kind of why I looked at the number and then I quickly got rid. But they did leave a voicemail.
Yeah, were they
And
your
it
car
was-
warranty?
and one of those where you only get half the message. The first half doesn't get on.
That's how they
I've
get
already
you.
started talking as the phone is ringing.
Interesting.
Anyway,
So today we're going to go over the differences between the types of internet we offer in our world and kind of talk about the fiber internet that we offer.
Yeah, so we'd like to kind of talk about the different technologies that have been available. We talked about this a while ago, but it's been a while, so we thought we'd kind of hit on it again. So we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine to kind of when internet first started, at least to residents and to people's homes. So originally, kind of in the mid-90s, it was delivered over phone line. You can think of dial-up internet is kind of how it started. There was a lot of AOL back in the day, the old You've Got Mail message that we were all kind of familiar with, and that sound every time you got a message. And it was all pretty much text based. There wasn't a lot of pictures or graphics. It was pretty small files because the internet was not very fast. Like I said, chat rooms and emails, pretty much just text. And then graphics started to come. You start to see pictures and websites where you could actually visit a website with pictures and stuff like that. And I remember back in the day when we had dial-up, you'd click on it, you literally would see it slowly coming in. You'd go do something else and come back and that website will have loaded. It took forever. It was kind of crazy to think about. And we'd all hear that noise when you try to pick up the phone or when you try to use the internet, that old dial-up sound. That makes most of us kind of cringe about it. But
I remember that
Nails on a
sound well.
chalkboard.
Yep,
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that sound well.
so it kind of went from just text-based to kind of more pictures and then kind of getting to where we are today.
Yeah, and then the next phase after dial-up was, DSL, and then also cable companies started delivering television through a cable. So a lot of people remember DSL. That's probably the one that's lasted, the longest because it's still, prevalent in a lot of people's homes today. And then a lot of people in the rural areas didn't have access to DSL or cable, so they got satellite. So they're getting a signal actually from space. So it's quite slow. It's typically pretty unreliable. But those are kind of the three technologies that people, when they think of internet, that's kind of what they're thinking of. And a lot of communities got DSL because the infrastructure was already in place. I mean, you had copper wiring to get your home phone, and that's actually how DSL is delivered, is through that copper wire. So if anyone is curious, DSL, if you have a guess at what that stands for, which I did not get correct, but Google helps us out. So that's Digital Subscriber Line. And then cable is actually just a coax cable. It's the cable that delivers a lot of people's TV and their internet. So this made for a much faster connection. People could start not having to wait for an image to download, but video streaming, audio streaming was still pretty difficult.
So as more people became online, content was created, and DSL and the coax cable became slower, and then more people started to use it as well. So if you are if your house is located by the hub, you're going to get faster speed. The further down you are, the speed is slower because your neighbors might be on it, or it's just further
Too
away.
far away or
Yep.
something. Yep.
So there's limited bandwidth on that. And so the pros of having DSL or coax cable, it's better than dial-up.
Isn't saying much, but
Yeah.
And then the other thing is most communities do offer DSL or coax cable providers. The con to this for the DSL and to the coax cable, it's speed and bandwidth are limited. Again, further down the road on the line, the worse your connection is. And if your neighbors or your family are also on the internet, it's congested and it's slow. And you can't get symmetrical speeds. So symmetrical means the same up and same down speed. And the upload speeds are higher latency. So you want low latency. And basically that's the...
how quickly your website's going to load and
There you go.
your pictures and all that jazz. Yeah, so that's DSL coax cable. If you are in the rural community, you may still be using even different technologies like satellite is still, some people still use satellite, which has been an option, or cell service as your internet provider. So these services work well in the rural communities because it's expensive to run cable everywhere. Some people in the rural community didn't even have phone line, didn't have options for DSL or coax cable, especially if they have a mile-long driveway like Bo does. It's hard to run cable everywhere. So satellite, it's been an option for people. Obviously it's traveling into space to your satellite dish at your house all the way to the satellite that's in space. So speed is pretty limited, and your connection suffers with weather and stuff like that. And then cell signal is going to be somewhat similar. It's all wirelessly transmitted, sometimes miles and miles away from the nearest cell tower, which is great for people that have fewer other options. But it's always not going to be as fast or as reliable as other connection types that we'll talk about here in a minute. So some of the pros of satellite service, like I said, is it's available virtually anywhere. I mean, the satellites are kind of orbiting the Earth, so you can get it almost anywhere rurally.
As long as you're on planet Earth, you should be able to.
Correct.
get a
If
good
you're on
shot
the
of it.
moon, maybe you won't have as much luck.
And it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, just barely.
And another, obviously, the pro is that it doesn't rely on, your internet provider doesn't have to run a cable all the way to your house. So if you're miles away from the nearest internet provider, it's obviously going to be more affordable than running cable all that way. But some of the cons are, it can't achieve very fast speeds. Your reliability isn't always there. Like I mentioned, if there's a bad snowstorm or a bad thunderstorm, the times when you really want to use the internet because you're stuck inside, typically that's when you're going to have the most issues with this types of service because you're trying to transmit wirelessly over large distances. And then specifically satellite can be extremely expensive because it's made for people that have fewer other options, and because it's traveling so far into space with these expensive satellites in the air, it can be very expensive to get satellite service. So
Right.
not always the best option, but it may be the only option.
Yeah. And then, the next wave and what we talk about, what you probably hear us talk about all the time is fiber optic. And, fiber's actually been around for longer than people think. It's been around for decades, but it was mainly used to connect major cities. So, like, it would connect Philadelphia to Boston, and it would be, not to a home, but more to, hospitals, bigger buildings like that. Now it's being used for individual homes and businesses. So you can actually get a connection that's not going to slow down if you're in a big neighborhood and you're at the end of the line, because everyone gets an individual fiber drop. So if you have your entire neighborhood connected or just one, it's really not going to make a difference. And like Jane was mentioning, when you have latency that's really, really high, that means your videos are going to take forever to load. Your websites won't load. You don't have to worry about that with fiber. And then the bandwidth itself, back when there's DSL, 25 meg is about as much as you can get with some of those, and now you can get gig and even higher than that. So the limitations are basically endless, or they're going to continue to grow with the technology that increases, like we see it happening every year.
Right. So the pros of fiber, just to kind of recap it, it's the fastest and the best technology that's out there, and it can provide unlimited bandwidth. It's offering symmetrical packages like we had talked earlier, and it has low latency. And the things with low latency, they're going to load a lot faster. And you can cover mass distances from the source without losing signal. And then it can also handle more users at the home and more users on the line, basically, too. And so it's not impacting by your neighbors or your family's usage. Specifically, this is what I love about our system. We have what's called the redundancy in our system. We have double everything. So if there's something that does happen or kind of goes awry, we just switch the traffic and it's rerouted to keep everyone online.
Yeah, it's awesome. Our network engineer, Andrew, is pretty proud of it. You know, we have basically 2 trunks all the way from the Twin Cities for fiber. We have double servers, everything in our warehouse. Everything's doubled up. So if one half goes wrong, we can move all the traffic to the other half to keep people online. So right now, internet's so important in so many parts of our lives. We can't afford to go down. Like, as businesses, homes, all this stuff, it's no longer a want. It's like, I have to have internet access or I can't operate, kind of thing.
Right. And the cons, so with us being new to Litchfield, for example, we've built our main line out, but it does take time to get that personal drop to your home. So that's a little bit, it's not there, but if somebody moves and you do have internet, it's a quick fix because we already have the internet there. So it's also not available everywhere. In some locations, you know, like Bo has a mile long driveway. So
yeah, it took a while to get there.
Yep, right. So not everybody has the capabilities of getting that right now, but we keep expanding, and so that's a good thing. And then it's expensive, as you know. The new construction and to lay the fiber line takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah, so when we're talking about when Vibrant brought fiber optic to the area a few years ago, originally we were trying to connect our electric substations was the original goal. We want to connect our substations to the fiber so we can communicate with them and stuff like that. Well, then we thought about starting to serve the community with internet, and we also put in 49 now, we call them monopoles. They're like fiber towers. So for people that live rurally in Meeker County or some of the surrounding counties, you may not be close enough to fiber. You may, in the rural community, there may be one house every mile. It's hard to run cable in all those areas. But if you can see one of those 49 towers, you can get fiber-like speeds shot wirelessly to a receiver on your property and then hook it up inside. So it's kind of the next best thing to having fiber. So if you're in the rural community and you're needing better internet, you don't have, DSL, your DSL is not fast enough, you don't have coax, you can't get fiber, this is going to be the next best thing for sure. I had it in my house. I was converted to fiber later when I got fiber as a possibility, and I didn't really even notice a difference because it works so well.
Right. And Scott, well, even if though you can't see our tower, Scott has been with us from day one, and he has an eye for every tower and knows exactly where everything is. So he definitely can get you connected.
Yeah, he can find a way almost always to get somebody's service. And there are areas where there's maybe a large area where we couldn't service a lot of people because they're down in a valley or they're around a lake or on a lot of trees. So we were continuing to expand the fiber optic in the community more and more every year. We talked about Litchfield, but in the rural community, we've expanded around a lot of lakes where there's a high number of people that we can connect, and we're laying more and more all the time. So, fiber may not be available now, but it doesn't mean you'll never have access to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of that was one of the things we dealt with in Litchfield. It wasn't available for a long time. People in the rural areas had fiber, but people in town were like, you know what, we would love that. So we're proud that we were able to bring that to town, and we got that built last summer. It's ready to go now. And, if you are, curious what technology you have, you can actually take a look at your speeds. It'll kind of give you an idea, maybe if you're working with cable, if you're working with DSL. And then we're also doing some more expansion. So this season, we're doing Paynesville, Grove City, and Atwater. So those are communities that were underserved and, really didn't have a lot of options. So we're really happy that we can provide fiber there as well. And, with good internet comes along, additions like streaming. So people that, had only satellite or cable TV as options, now you can stream. So if you have questions on streaming, we actually have another Dreaming of Streaming class tonight. That's going to be at the Co-op. It's going to be from 5:30 to 6:30. So if this is your first time, definitely come, bring a friend. If you want a little bit of a refresher, you can come again. We have a ton of people who come multiple times to kind of get something different every time. If you come too many times, we might make you teach the class.
Yes.
So just know that. We have snacks provided. So we have some chips, some non-alcoholic drinks. You can bring your own if you want to. And then we also have another event tomorrow.
We do. So Vibrant is going to be at the American Legion Car and Bike Night again. And so stop by and say hi. There's going to be a lot of prizes, lots of fun times, and Shane will be there. He loves doing announcing stuff.
He's
so
really
Yeah.
good at that.
he is.
Not to mention all the cool cars, and I think the weather's supposed to be nice. So yeah, stop on out tomorrow night.
Yep. And we're giving, lots of prizes. And then the other thing is, if you miss us there, definitely come out on Saturday. We're going to be at the Grove City Windmill Days in the vendor area by Trinity Church.
Yep.
So stop on out and see all three of us sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. If you missed part of today's radio show or you want to listen back to an old one, you can check those out on Facebook or our YouTube channels, Vibrant Broadband. As always, though, you can check us out live on KLFD here on Wednesdays at 10:30. If you have questions about Vibrant or you have questions about what kind of technology you have, or you said maybe I can get better internet, I'd love to find out. Give us a call. We're local. We'd love to just chat. No pressure. If you're not interested, that's okay. But if you're just kind of curious, can I get something better? Just give us a call, 693-3231, or visit our website. There's a lot of great information on there, vibrantbroadband.com, because who wouldn't want to be vibrant?
Yep. Get your daily dose of fiber.
Daily dose.
Daily dose. And we want to thank Randy, thank KLFD, and thank you for listening. I'm Bo.
I'm Jane.
And I am Nathan.
And tune in next Wednesday for another Vibrant You Live.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.